everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Handyman TV, and this is the birthday bonus. So today I turned 25. So I did a second art piece after coming home from a concert. It was Jesus Culture out of Plymouth, Michigan. It was awesome. I'm not actually a big fan of concerts, so Jesus Culture is the only exception. So today's my birthday, and my mommy got me a card. Is it big enough? Is it big enough? Really? I don't know. Is it big enough? Is it? Maybe. This is an intro to the birthday bonus, so you guys will see an extra art piece I did when I came back from my concert. Ooh, magic hands from The Price is Right. So this is more of a pop art version than the one that I did for Valentine's Day, which was done on Saturday, not Sunday, because of course I was gone Sunday. So they both have texture. They're both made with tissue paper, paper mache, acrylic paints. This one's got yarn and some gold, and this one's got some, this is a hymn book, like the little piece of paper with the music notes on it that's been torn out. And so you guys will see how to do this. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need some white glue, kind of like an Elmer's glue, but you can get the cheap version. Mix equal parts water to equal parts glue. Mix it with your paintbrush, and this is consistency that you want. You're going to need an artist canvas. This is actually the smaller two sizes from Dollarama. You're going to need a paint palette. This one comes with multiple compartments, so you can have as many paints as you want. The sponge, paintbrushes, toothbrush, whatever you feel comfortable painting with. You're going to need white tissue paper because it's not necessarily going to come in the color you want, so paint it exactly how you want it. Oil pastels, pencil crayon, wax kind of Crayola crayon. Crayola apparently works best. Craft acrylics. You're going to need Christmas red, white, spun gold, and black. And these colors you can use, on other projects. You're going to need some kind of music note paper. I'm using some sheets from a hymn book. This isn't even in English. This is in the international language from the thrift store. So you're going to take your tissue paper, you're going to scrunch it up and get as much texture as you can. And then you're going to tear it up into manageable size pieces because it's really difficult to try and paper mache this, Mod Podge it all in one big sheet. So here I'm going to show you guys an example of how to get your glue and scrunch it all up. So I'm just starting off in the corner and I'm using my fingers and I'm just slowly folding it, twisting it, just getting all that texture and then just loading on lots of the Mod Podge so that it gets wet. So here's what I'm doing close up. Just remember and keep in mind that the thicker areas you will have to paint over again with your lettering and stuff, so just keep that in mind when you're going along. So you're going to Mod Podge each of your pieces of tissue paper, scrunching it, twisting it, all that. And when you start adding new pieces, you can overlap. You can make certain parts thicker, certain parts thinner, like where you can almost see it's flatter. And just keep going until you have the whole canvas done. Now with painting, I'm swiping across and you can see some of the white parts are left. I'm going to squish the sponge right into those holes because I want to cover up like 99.9% of it with the paint. And now I'm taking my oil pastel and I'm going over it. Notice how I'm holding it. I'm not, going straight down. I'm holding it at an angle to get all the top surfaces with blue, and I'm just picking out what spots I want blue. And here's what it looks like close up. So the oil pastel will give you the rough area of where to go, and then I go over again with the Ultramarine number 13 Laurentian pencil crayon, and I go over it again, and I make certain spots darker than others, go over those details, just a little bit more control using the pencil crayon. So I've torn out a page from the hymn book and I've soaked it in water a little bit, as you can see on the canvas, so that it has some transparency and it'll help with the Mod Podge because it's already soaking wet instead of having to try and, soak it some more from scratch. I am tearing it into pieces. Those edges that are torn are going to show more of the red, and I'm trying to leave as more rough edges than the straight edges that are the side of the paper. So I'm going to play now with the orientation where everything is. I'm actually going to go ahead too and start making them certain pieces smaller, certain pieces more narrow. I noticed too that some of them curl, and I don't want all of them curling the same way. Just playing with the length, width, sizes, and all that. So as you start writing out your lettering or your message or whatever, I'm just choosing one specific phrase. It's actually the title of a song called Your Love Never Fails. I'm putting emphasis on the capital letters of each one. I'm using cursive. Because I'm outlining it, and I can actually play with how letters overlap, so you're going to see that as I'm outlining it. Um, Make sure to keep in mind nuance. Nuance is when certain parts of the line are thinner and other parts are thicker. It just gives it more character than just being like a bubble stick that's been curved. So keep that in mind. You can go online on different places on the web, or image or Google Image Search is one of my favorites because I get to see how different people write their letters cursively. So you can look up for cursive L, or a signature that has an L in it, or see if somebody has a different way of writing the word love. So just play around with that. Don't worry about making any mistakes. You can use the red paint, the Christmas red in the background, and you can go over those outlines to make sure they're more smooth, because we are painting on a textured surface, so the lines won't be necessarily straight the first time around. You will have to play a little bit. You don't have to do the red until after you've outlined it in black, otherwise you're giving yourself a little bit more work. Of course, I'm freehanding my cursive, so I have to keep in mind and take moments to pause and look and make sure that my cursive writing is not only the same kind of angle, because sometimes cursive writing is a different angle, like it tilts more to the right or to the left, depending on whether you're doing it with left or right-handed. You also It's not so much the width of the letter, because if you look at the Y, it's a lot less wider than the L. So the width you can play around with. It's the length, like from top to bottom, that you want to make sure that's at least somewhat consistent. You can play a little bit around with that, but I try to make sure they're as consistent as possible. Now I'm outlining in black, and this is where I start to tweak it a little bit, because I notice that as I'm doing this first part of the L, it's kind of looking like a big bubble. There's no nuance, so I got to play with that. But as you can see, they're kind of going under over, so I get to play with that because I'm outlining it. So after you're done outlining, you would take your red paint and you would fix the outside. And as you can see, I'm fixing it now so that there's a thicker on the end and the inside is a little more thin. So don't fix the outline of your letters until after you've done the black outlining. So here's where you take your gold, and I'm putting it as a shading, so the light is actually coming from the top left, so all the shadows are going to be in the bottom right. So I'm doing shading with gold, and with this gold you can make it transparent in certain areas and then lay it on thicker to make it pop more. So this is going to give it that kind of pop art effect. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and got a little bit more in depth on how to do some little techniques of art and how to make your art pieces stand out. If you guys have any requests, feedback, comments, anything, leave it in the comments below. I put exclusive content as well on the Handy Mandy TV website, so you guys will find the link below. And happy Valentine's Day!